Good afternoon, Patriots, and welcome to another exciting edition of Quarantine with your host, RP, and as always, my co-host, M3. All right, guys, I want to thank everybody for having the patience to allow me to take the day off yesterday. I really appreciate it. I know that Methods did as well. Thanks again for showing up, guys. Appreciate your loyalty and your patronage. We got patriots from all across the globe here. Please do us a favor, like and share this broadcast. Help us get it out so we can get the word out. And please, everyone, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Franklin's Finest Coffee is the first ever emergency survival coffee with an actual up to 25-year shelf life. The kit provides a 1-year supply of flavorful Franklin's Finest coffee for one person. It's conveniently packaged in 12 resealable, 60-serving, heavy-duty 4-layer zipper pouches for a total of 720 servings. It's all packaged in a rugged, water-resistant bucket for easy storage, and Franklin's Finest Coffee is the ultimate survival perk, especially for those that drink coffee on a daily basis. Or you can take it camping. It's 100% Colombian, and it's also the perfect item for barter or trade in an emergency. You'll thank us later for that tip. As Benjamin Franklin said, among the numerous luxuries on the table, coffee may be considered as one of the most valuable. It excites cheerfulness without intoxication, and the pleasing flow of spirits which it occasions is never followed by sadness, languor, or debility. And welcome back. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. As always, I am RP, and here is my co-host and brother, M3. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Red Pill? How's everybody doing out there in chat? It's Friday. Doesn't necessarily feel like it because I lose track of days during all this anyways.
Somebody says they're hearing double. Is that correct, you guys? Because can I just get a confirmation in the chat if you guys are hearing double from me? 5x5. All right, you guys. I don't know if you're hearing double or not. It doesn't sound to me like it's... No double. No double. Okay. All right. Well, anybody who said they were hearing double, maybe just refresh your browser and see if that works. No double. 95% of the people are saying no doubles. No audio issues. Thank you very much, everybody. I need to say thank you to Copper Tropicals. Says, I hope you have stuff about the kids in New York. Unfortunately, I do kind of have something about the kids in New York, but it is maybe a little bit different of a path, I guess. There's obviously a lot of news that's been going on in the last 2 days since we haven't been here. Thanks, everybody, for letting us know how the sound is and how the video is. Do appreciate it. Methods, how was your day off yesterday?
I was pretty comfy, man. Just hung out a little bit. I still had to keep an eye on things because we told everybody we would, get information out there if things happened. And a few things did. Obviously, but nah, man, I just enjoyed my time. It was good. Good.
I definitely benefited from the rest and relaxation. It was very, very nice. People are asking me to check on Simone, and Simone is sleeping in the sun in my bedroom, so she won't be joining us today. I will slow the chat again. Need to say thank you to all the mods, everybody who's here helping out. Do appreciate it. So what was the first thing we wanted to talk about? We had a feel-good story, man. This is an awesome story, and you guys might have heard about this, but there was a guy down in Alabama who was mowing people's lawns just for free because he wanted to help out. And now he's continuing to do it because it's obviously an important time. There's a lot of people who are not getting the services that they otherwise normally would, people that are afraid to maybe even go out and mow their lawns. But his name is Rodney Smith Jr., and he seems like a pretty good guy, Methods.
Yeah, I mean, back in 2018, he started this thing to where he was just mowing lawns for people, whether they were older, handicap type stuff, just trying to help out people. And he noticed the need for it. So he had actually started, his own, I guess, nonprofit to do these things, to, mow lawns for people. And then he came up with this idea back then to do what he called the 50-yard challenge to the ages from ages 7 to 17 across the world, to where he would challenge them to mow lawns, and every time they mowed 10 lawns or up to 20, 30, all the way up, he would send them a different color shirt, kind of like, getting different color belts and, karate type stuff.
Right.
And then I think at the end, he would end up sending them like new lawnmowers and stuff like that. It was really, really cool. Well, apparently he's back in the news. The White House Twitter brought him up because, he's now not only just going and mowing people's lawns, some of them don't even know he's doing it. They're coming home from church.
Oh, man.
Freshly mowed lawn. But he's also getting donations to buy, the essentials that people need, the toilet paper, the disinfectant stuff and all that. And he's just mowing their lawn, dropping it on their door. And if they happen to notice, he takes, a 6-foot selfie with them. But just to bless them and move along their way. And it's just, to me, that's a story we need to hear. Everything going on, and I mean, to me, it was very admirable that he did it, or is doing it.
I completely agree. I feel like we live in very selfish times nowadays. I mean, who knows what this guy's politics are, but he's just going out and he's helping people who need the help. And this is the kind of thing that breaks down barriers and allows people to maybe change their mind, soften their hardened attitudes a little bit. We got a lot of anger in this country right now. And the fact that he's out there doing this, and then not only that, but sharing the wealth, I mean, he's spreading that love and helping other kids. Well, I mean, he's not a kid, but helping kids to kind of set on that path of service. It is something that is sorely missing in society today, and especially when we've got kids who are just basically glued to their phones or their tablets or their computers or whatever. This is a great message to send to people. And when you're a young person and you can see the value in helping other people and get set on that path, I think it's an incredible character building thing that people can do.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I see people asking about it in the chat. I'm going to drop the link in here a couple times so you guys can see it. You could find all his information through the article.
Yeah.
He's been doing this for a while. A lot of people support him. If you can donate, that'd be something to donate to if you're looking to do something to help during all this time.
I agree. Moderate Place says your voices are shaky. About 2 minutes before we were supposed to go live, I had to reboot my computer. And then I sent the link to Methods, but it didn't apparently send. So, like, literally, as I was going live, he was jumping out of the call, and then everything worked. It was an incredible thing. I do want to say, check out this shirt that Real Red Pill Girlfriend got me. It's Tinfoil Hat Podcast shirt. I thought that was pretty sweet that showed up in the mail today because I love Sam. Y'all know I love Sam. I need to say thank you to Chris Hawkins. He says, oh my God, the DTs are finally over. I thought I was going to die from not having quarantine. Well, I'm glad that you're doing fine, Chris. James Duncan says, thanks for everything. Thank you, James. Tim Archer has joined as a member of the channel. Thank you, Tim. And Big Bad Don saw a JSNP4 video today, and he pointed out S-typo from our favorite Anon, 10 Days of Darkness. Dankness is a book about child traffickers busted at Easter time. Wow. Did our favorite Anon say dankness instead of darkness one time? Do you remember that?
Yeah, back when that happened, I remember, so many times digs just come and go. We forget about it. But I remember that being brought up back then. But yeah, no, there was a misspelling, switching out, I think, the N and the K on darkness. But yeah, no, it's out there. I mean, look into it. It's definitely interesting.
All the time I forget more than, I learn on a daily basis because I've got like just reams of information coming into my head, and people are always quick to let me know if there's something that was overlooked, which I definitely appreciate because as far as I'm concerned, this is a collaborative effort. We are able to do this because we're working together in a group, and the power of the hive mind is real. It's a real thing. Brian White, thank you again for joining as a member. Jay Charles says, we missed you yesterday. No double 5x5. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, all the time, like when we'll bring up stuff on these shows and we'll just see in the chat and I'll read something and I'm like, I totally forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
And it helps. Yeah, replies on Twitter, all that stuff. It's very, it's very interesting. You sift through all the stuff that you might not agree with, or, arguments, debates, negativity, and you'll find those gems of people just bringing up something that just clicks in your head and you're like, that was 2 years ago and I had already forgotten about it.
Yeah, most def. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was this tweet from our friend Enoch on Twitter, and he put it together that through a series of additional letters and misspellings, President Trump spelled out pain. First, Trump invokes P. Remember that? Invoke P means Defense Production Act, he said. Then he tweets and deletes a typo, which was the letter A. Then he tweets and deletes a typo, which is the letter I. Then he had a typo in his letter to Schumer, which was a missing N. And then he tweeted about P again, which was confirming the whole thing. So here's the meme that Enoch put together. We often like to have fun with people who make these overly complicated proofs like this. But part of the reason is that, humor is a great thing to have when we're invoking such difficult subjects. And the proofs that people make, I know they put a ton of time into them. And I just wanted to say that Enoch is one of those people who does a great job putting these together. But going back here to the proof, we've got all of these tweets that spell it all out. And there it is. Alternative in that letter was missing the N. And we actually, did you have any thoughts on this proof here, Methods?
I mean, this just like how you brought up how we can even joke around about certain graphics that get made and, just connections across the board. And like I've had one sent to me that connected the timestamp of my own tweet into a graphic. I'm like, no. That's just me tweeting out. It just happened to be that time. But with that said, this is the kind of graphics, and especially Enoch, I highly suggest you follow. Whether you agree or disagree with anything he or she.
I believe it's a he, yeah.
I believe so, but I don't. My apologies, regardless. He's one of those ones that, like, when he puts out a graphic and you see that, that famous red box thing around his stuff, you're like, oh, that's an Enoch work, and you want to look at it because he does find very interesting things for sure. So definitely follow him on Twitter because it's worthwhile.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just going to drop that link to the tweet so you can follow him if you haven't already. So this proof brings us perfectly into President Trump's letter that he wrote to Chuck Schumer. He is just savage, and I love it. He's not willing to take any of this stuff sitting down, and the longer we go, the more obvious it is, and the quicker he's willing to strike out and just nip something in the bud. And, clearly the Democrats are trying to make this whole CV-19 situation into the next impeachment, into the next Mueller investigation. And President Trump basically told Chuck Schumer what to do with that investigation that he was planning on putting together, and all the blame that he's trying to lay at the feet of the president. But he sent out this letter, and it's a 2-page letter, and there was something specific in the letter that was brought to our attention by one of our ardent followers, and you may have heard of her. Her name is American Wife, now American Wife 2. This is her second account, it looks like. But she pointed out here that in the second bullet point that President Trump has for Chuck Schumer, he says they know something is coming, and that's all they need to know. Methods, do you think that's a message to Chuck, or do you think that's a message to somebody else?
Well, I mean, in the context of what he's talking about, It does. It's one of those things that you kind of like raise your eyebrows about. You're like, okay, why did he add that? Because every word in these letters are meant. Everything is meant to be in that letter. So the fact that that was added as an afterthought on a bullet point was definitely, I'm glad that she sent it over, and I can assume she's a she. Yeah, I find it very fascinating. The letter, like you said, was savage. I'm all about reading these letters because, obviously, if the virus could vote, it would be voting Democrat in the election because of how much it's helping their cause of pushing all these bills and taking us into debt, ruining the economy that Trump has built up. And obviously now we're talking about another investigation of all these things that I'm definitely not looking forward to, but am willing to cover like we did the last impeachment stuff. But I do believe that it's planned for, and it kind of feels different this time around. Like it's not just going to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, before it seemed like there was this process that we were going to have to go through. President Trump was going to have to exonerate himself over and over again. I don't think this is going to get that far. I think that the proof is in the pudding on this. And President Trump is doing a spectacular job. He is responding with equal and necessary force to tick this problem and just nip it off at the bud. And the Democrats are trying to, build that outrage mob again. But I do not think it's going to work this time. Real quick, before I get your thoughts on that, I need to say thank you to Stephanie Oostveen. Thank you very much, Stephanie. I hope your animals are okay. Michael Dixon says, hi from Ohio. As of right now, there is no CV-19 cases in the county I live in, Hocking County, Ohio. I hope we don't see any at all. Well, from what I hear, they're planning to start taking patients and moving them around to rural areas. So definitely keep an eye on it. And then American Wife is here. She says it's actually her third account. Sweet. Thank you very much for that. Glad to see you here. Then Gaffer Anon says, glad you took a day off to rest. Good to have you back reporting real news. Sent you a Proton mail. I got your Proton mail. I just unfortunately got it too late. So I will be joining you next week, Gaffer. So thanks for that, buddy. This brings us to a story we weren't necessarily planning on covering, but this product that I use here is called Zoom. This is how we've got this window here. This is how Methods and I do the call. This is how you guys call in. This is how I do all the shows. It's just one piece of software that myself and a lot of people who are citizen journalists use because it's very convenient. It's very high quality. But it's used in a lot of different ways for group meetings when people have to meet from afar. And especially right now, during this situation that we're in, people are using it more and more. And so as a result, it is getting more and more attention. There have been recently, I guess, supposed planned group meetings that people have gotten the information for, and then they have, jumped in on the conversation in order to, I guess, wreck the original intention of it. Like, people have meetings, people have school board meetings, they have meetings for anything that you can possibly imagine. And if you put your meeting information out there in public, you post it on Facebook, and then it gets shared around and somebody sees it and they want to be a jerk and jump into your meeting and wreck it for you, they can do it. And this is why I don't publish the meeting information unless I'm specifically wanting to have people jump in on the conversation. I also have it set up so that people can't just jump in. I have to let them in. But not everybody is savvy enough with this software to do that. And Methods, what were you saying to me before the show began about how this it's the tools of our movement are get attacked?
I mean, yeah, it's just, to me, when I saw that article and it was being brought up about Zoom, I mean, we all use Discord, and then Discord gets attacked. All these different things they bring up, they attack Gab. They've even attacked Reddit before. So seeing Zoom come up and they're like, oh, by the way, you need to be careful about Zoom and all this stuff. I was like, everything that we want to use somehow. Now, granted, in this story in particular, that does make sense. You're publishing information for private conversations, and it could just be, wrecked at any point in time if you have it, public. But it is interesting to me that we've all figured out that Zoom's kind of been the best. And now it's like, oh, by the way, it can be dangerous. Don't use it. But yeah, no, but to tie a bow on what we were talking about before with Trump, just real quick, he knew around the time that during the Senate trial about this virus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he touted so much acquitted forever, he knew, he had to have known, or at least had somebody bring it to his attention, that they're going to try to use this Kung Flu to try to impeach him again and go down that road. And he would have known at that time, I imagine. So for him to have touted that so much, and even a lot of the people that we like in government were saying, acquitted forever, this will never happen again. I think that was them showing, because we find out things late, the whole 3-month rule that White Hat brings up. So I just wanted to tie a bow on it and say, I mean, Trump knew back then that this was their plan. So I can't wrap my head around them specifically getting away with doing another impeachment thing without something planned for it.
And it's an absolute waste of taxpayer resources and money. I really hope that they're not able to put something together, even in the initial phases, because it doesn't matter how much time they waste on it. Any time that they waste on some BS like this is time taken away from the business of running the country, from the business of legislating, from the business of simplifying all of these ridiculous codes and laws that we have out there right now. Anything to take away from President Trump's agenda. And if they do get their hands into this thing again, it's just going to be another multi-million-dollar money pit that the American public are going to have to foot the bill on. Now, I can only hope that with the emergency powers that President Trump has the ability to use right now, this is the kind of thing that he can actively put a stop to, or perhaps just because of the obvious response that him and his partners in the administration have been able to put forth. It's going to be obvious to the American public that this is not something that we want to, even get started with.
I can agree. And I mean, we obviously are pushing for, 4 more years of Trump. And then obviously whoever he endorses, who we all collectively believe in, go on for 8 with that or whatever. We can't see this going on that long. And I know at the start of this, when they started going after, Trump with the Russia stuff, it was like, okay, this has got to end at some point. And now here we are in the 4th year, and it's still something going on to remove him
forever.
Something's got to give on it. And like we say, something's planned for, and we'll see how it goes, but we'll just keep doing what we do in the meantime.
Yeah. Stephanie Oostveen said, tried to send pics, but no luck. Should I email instead? Yes, you should email redpill78@protonmail.com. Thank you. Jason Stiles has joined as a member. Thank you, Jason. Dennis Ranshaw said, love your programs. Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate that. Chrissy T, is that like Chrissy Teigen? Kids in dumbs, but being rescued by military. This is a big theory going around right now, and I don't want to take anything away from what people are saying. All I've said is that if this is happening, obviously it's great. It's 100%. I am seeing, and I've heard about some disinformation from methods and people putting it on the boards. So I want this to be true more than anything else, and I'm just waiting for some major confirmations so that I can say I know that this is happening. I've seen some tantalizing things, but you guys should know me by now. I don't want to say that I know something is true if I actually don't know that it's true. But there's some major theories going on right now. Son of a Green Card said, did you guys see that the CEO of Zoom just dumped $38 million worth of stock? No, I did not. That does not sound very, very good. I'll definitely look into that. Oh, man, if Zoom goes away, the dodo, I don't know what we're going to do. Looney Tune says, Lake County, Ohio, 60-plus confirmed cases here. Kylan Jones says, never great. Katie's here. Boy, did I miss you yesterday. Heard last night they're getting the kids out of the tunnels. True? Hi, Methods. Yeah, I hope it's true, but I just don't know for certain. Trish Rader says...
We can discuss that after you get done with these.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Trish Rader says, what are you drinking? It looks delicious. It is Gatorade. Jennifer4327, your show is more important than you could possibly know. Your audience is a fellowship of incredible patriots across the globe. We love you guys. You are messengers of hope, and may God bless. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Obviously, positive reinforcement is something that works very well for most people. And when I get to the point that I was at yesterday, it really helps. And you guys mean more than you could possibly know. I'll talk about another email I got from somebody in a moment. Then Chrissy T says, how? Kids in military dumb, yet military rescue. Okay, so I have this video from Jim Breuer, comedian Jim Breuer, and Joe M had posted. I guess it was originally out on Instagram, and it was a lot of people saw it and they thought that he was making fun of us, but I went and I read through his posts. I saw some of his replies to other people in the movement. And I'm confident that Jim Breuer is not making fun of us. He has also heard about this theory. I don't know if he has firsthand knowledge or if it's just, he's heard what people are saying. Maybe he's seen some of the coverage and he believes this to be true. But he's a genuine guy, and he's one of us, okay? This is me vouching for Jim Breuer based upon posts that I've seen him make, based upon replies to other people. People called him out saying that they thought that he was making fun. He said, that's not true. He said, get your information and, then go ahead and make a statement. He's actually commenting on this, and he's talking about it as if it's a real thing and it's a good thing. Methods, have you seen this yet?
I saw the video. I don't know how many he's put out. I didn't see all the replies, but the one where he starts filming to like a hole in the ground or something and then starts talking. And I was in the camp of assuming that he was just making fun of us. I mean, we've seen it a lot. We saw it with Tom Hanks' son. I just took it that way because he is a comedian. I've watched interviews and he always finds that sarcastic thing I guess I connect with because sometimes I'm not exactly straightforward with my humor. But so to your point, you're saying that he's replying and completely saying, no, I'm 100% behind this.
Yes, I believe he is. And I'm going to tell you guys why. He was on another podcast. It was Joe Rogan, and I know what you're going to say about Joe Rogan. But he was on Joe Rogan, and he played JFK's Secret Society speech for Joe. And I guess it was the first time he'd ever heard it. And he made this excellent point. He said, with all the fanfare for JFK, the most well-known quote from him is ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And he said, when you listen to this speech, which is rarely ever played and is only known in certain circles, he said, this is what should have been the most important takeaway of his presidency. And it wasn't long after that he was removed from the situation. So I want to play you guys this clip of Jim Breuer in the video he made.
Out the darkness. We're doing everything we can. Hang in there, okay? First, we got to get some light and see what's going on. And then we're going to help you out of those dark tunnels you seem to be held hostage in. Oh, wow. There we go. There we go. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So many people held hostage in dark tunnels. But you know what? You keep the spirits high, you don't give up, and you shed light. And when you shed light, you see a lot of truth. It's just like that movie. What does Nicholson say? You can't handle the truth.
So I just want to say right there, obviously Jim Breuer is a comedian, so he's got his own unique delivery. And he's not talking about anyone in particular, and he's not calling out any groups, but he's talking about shedding light and showing the truth. And what more at a basic level is this movement about other than that? So let's continue.
Well, it is what it is. Sometimes you put light on it and it's just like that saying, it sets you free. It really does. It really does. And I'll tell you what, hopefully, when you shed some light on real situations, people stuck as hostage, so many people, we put light and all of a sudden the truth is there and hopefully you can handle the truth. Keep lifting spirits. Keep the energy that you've been given, the good feelings, it's going around. It works whether police, whatever people don't believe, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about them. We understand each other. Keep lifting spirits. Keep putting good vibes out there. Shed light into those tunnels. Let's save those hostages. Enjoy the day. Keep your spirits high, and thanks for all the great energy.
I honestly believe that Jim Breuer is being completely and totally genuine. He's talking about shining light, revealing truth. He's talking to researchers like us, telling us to keep going, keep uncovering things. And in the end, if there are people who need to be rescued, then for that to happen. Now, I want to show you some of his replies to these tweets because people are saying, of course, he's making fun of us. And he says, think before you tweet. Know the truth before you blindly cast others to look away from something that can be so helpful. Then another person said that he was, maybe he works in Hollywood, and he says, I work for the maker that blessed me with the gift to heal through laughter. Not one who blindly casts judgment. Stick that in your fact seeking. And then somebody else says something. He says, maybe you should listen again. And I really think that he's being totally genuine here. I wish that you could have heard that again, Methods.
Oh, I know. I'm the only one in the room, just out in the rain. But yeah, I mean, once again, and I'm reading the chat, and it's very interesting to watch during this because I'm sure not everybody's seen it, but it looks almost split completely on agreeing, with my initial view on him and then what you were saying. So it's very interesting to see, two different points of view entirely on the same clip. Yeah. But with that said, I hope he does more of these videos just so we have more content to pick apart.
I'm actually going to drop the link to him on JRE where he's listening to the video of JFK's speech. And, I really want you to go ahead and look at it and think that there's, some possibility that he could be genuine. There are also other people in the main thread from Joe M, which shows that he responded to somebody on Instagram, and it was clearly an account that was doing the same type of research as us, and he had a nice exchange with that person. Let me see if I can actually... Here we go. So, yeah. Liberty Mom says, I asked him if he follows our favorite Anon in my story, and this was his response that I also put in my story. P.S. His Instagram follows are interesting, too. So, maybe if anybody here has Instagram and can go find Jim Brewer and see who he's following, that would also give you some clue as well. Now, he says... Go ahead.
We can do what we do best and pick apart all his social media. See if you can find things. Then do what we do. Verify, because you get a better picture on people's intent when you understand what they've said for over the year. How did he feel about Trump getting elected? Mm-hmm. What has he been saying about that? Was he all Hillary? I don't know. It'd be good to pick it apart a little bit to get a better idea.
So on the screen right now, guys, is that Instagram story from Liberty Mom, and she says, "Better be okay." So then he responds to it. He replied to her story, and then she said, better be on the right side of this. I need one comedian who can still make me laugh, and I can't point to and say, at least this one wasn't a douche. Murica. And he says, haha, as long as you're on the side of truth, you will always prevail. And in that story, she asked him if he followed our favorite Anon, and he replied to it, and I believe he shared it too. So you got to think. He knows what, if he's being genuine, he knows what we're in the middle of and how serious this is, and also what the mainstream sentiment is, okay? So maybe he's trying to talk about this, talk to us and with us, and not completely deep six his career. I think he's being genuine. That's just my take on it. So I appreciate Jim Brewer, and I would love to have him here on the show if we can get him scheduled. So I'm going to be working on that, guys, and then you can go ahead and ask him questions yourself if he gets here.
I would absolutely love if we could have him on just to talk. And I'm not trying to be a skeptic about it, but you learn a lot when you get a chance to talk to somebody, and ask the questions and see the reaction. So,
all right. So the next thing we were going to talk about was this tweet from Zoe Tillman. She says, normally, under the Speedy Trial Act, there's a 70-day window to bring a case to trial after an indictment. This order for SoCal increases that window to 180 days. It doesn't change the time limit for people being held in jail solely awaiting trial, however. So, Methods, tell us what you understand about this.
Well, basically, this came from the Ninth Circuit, which, we've been taking care of and kind of stacking in the right way. So that's what caught my eye about this. But doing the continuance of this judicial emergency, and this is in, the Southern District of California, this will go on for a year. once again, we keep talking about if we're going to be a lot better, with this stuff and have a better grip on Kung Flu by, let's say, the fall or the 30-day thing that Trump's talking about, then they're extending this for a year. And I don't know if that just means because the courts are going to be so stacked, in back cases that they're going to need this for that long. But the interesting thing about it is that adds 110 extra days for them to be held when it comes to an indictment.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to talk about the whole, however many sealed indictments there are, they would need more time to be able to roll through them. So no, it's just something interesting that they are extending this and they see a need for it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with the volume of indictments that are going to be out there, this is going to be a very handy tool in the belt of the Justice Department. I think they're probably going to need it. So this is great news as far as I'm concerned. Now, I need to say thank you to D's Nuts Be Dragon. Much love, brother. Dale Bursier. Oh, this guy, he is making me a custom tomahawk, you guys. I can't wait to show it to you here on the show. Does great work. Dale Bursier says, I appreciate all that you guys do. I'm not even missing sports ball in the least.
No, I'm missing it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I'm personally missing it. Red Bull probably wouldn't have even known that it was canceled if we didn't say anything to him about it.
No idea.
But yeah, hey, we've got over 5,500 people here. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Just try to click that like button if that's cool with you. And yeah, man, let's keep going.
Appreciate it, guys. Then Navy Vet says, what do you Patriots think of people's death being recorded as CV-19, but something completely different? Love you guys. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. Drummerization, thank you for joining as a member. Tony Radar says, you guys and others help keep me informed as I'm rolling down the interstate. Thanks, guys, for all you do. Thank you, Tony. Be careful. Don't be texting and driving.
10 and 2, bud.
Denise says, I miss my fish and chips. Not even the Germans bombing us could have shut them up, but CV-19 has. That'd be so interesting. I wonder what Britain was like during World War II. Were all the fish and chip places still open? It seemed you've got to have like some black market fish and chips, like a little pop-up stand or something that opens up. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing with people going out in the UK. Emmy, where we go on, we go all UK. Thank you for that. Alexander Schacht says, Jim has always been real. Thank you, Alexander. And Henry Chang, thank you. Thank you very much, Henry. So this would be an excellent time to discuss. Where did it go? There we go. Got it pulled up. Okay. So this is in regards to what the Super Chat just said, Navy Vet. So, I think this is important to talk about because it really hammers home the propaganda, the nature of this event that we find ourselves in. New York data confirms once again that 99% of CV-19 fatalities have pre-existing conditions, and 94 of them are over the age of 45. So what this means is that the people who are actually passing away are most likely people who were already very sick and could likely have, been passing away as a result of their pre-existing conditions and not necessarily, probably not very likely from the CV-19.
Right. And I mean, it does add to the numbers that the Democrats want to have as far as that. So as far as them accusing, and of course, we've all seen the accusations of, hospitals labeling things as such when it really wasn't, or they had something pre-existing that more than likely is the reason. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you throw, Kung Flu on top of it when they're already dealing with something that unfortunately, takes them to the great beyond or whatever you want to call it. To me, the numbers are obviously, when you look at those statistics, it's just, come on. I mean, you can't just say, okay, they were completely fine. They just happened to be older and then they got hit with this and then they're dead because Trump's bad. Yeah. That's the narrative. And it's just ridiculous when you look at the statistics about it.
Orange man bad. So I have a couple people here from New York saying that they love the show. Brooklyn, thank you very much to everybody who's there. I hope we're keeping you sane during the midst of this lockdown. I also got a message from a friend of mine on the NYPD who said that I would never believe how many people there are watching my show. So I want to give a special shout out to any officers on the NYPD. Say thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate those of you who have reached out and sent me messages and given me information about stuff, because the more truth I can bring to the audience, the better the show is. And it means a lot, and I do appreciate you guys' service. And I hope that we have seen the last of the NYPD officers who are self-deleting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Lady Be Good says, RP78, you are so good at this. Did you go to broadcasting school? Count on you and Methods every day for news. I did not go to broadcasting school. I took some radio classes and did some radio programming during college. I'd done a bit of live radio, but I've never, you know what, guys? This is hilarious. I did do a bit of, when I was a kid, I was on this syndicated children's radio program where I guess I did read the news, but that's it. It's only when I was a kid and when I was in college. I never went to broadcasting school. I never went to journalism school. I just wanted to do this, and I taught myself how to do it. So appreciate you guys watching. Then Navy Vet Lady says, please use this to buy Simone some toys and treats. Thank you for all you do, both of you. Simone is going to get a big fat bag of catnip later on today, I'll tell you what. Well, I guess once they open up the stores. And just one more appeal, guys, to anybody who is watching the show and has not left a like yet. We've got 1.8 thousand likes and 5,700 people watching. If you want to like it, then it really means a lot and will help us out with getting other people to be able to see the show. Daro Bruno says, hey, RP and M3, have you seen the YouTube video titled War Zone Hospitals of NYC, Bronx, New Rochelle? Take a look at what a war zone we have found. Real opener. I haven't seen it. Methods, have you seen that?
No, I have not, but I've had a few people bring it up. I intend on watching it, but you know how that goes.
Okay. Nancy Kaya 75 says, older people tend to vote conservative values. Oh, are you insinuating that what we're seeing is an effort to cull the older voters in our society, so then we'll have a shifting of the balance here in America? What do you think about that, Methods?
Well, I saw somebody say that on Twitter, and I wish I could give credit because it made me think of, keep that in mind. Like, if it's obviously hitting what would be a voter base, once again, how I will always say the Kung Flu is Democrat, would vote Democrat, because it is helping them way more than it is helping us when it comes to votes.
Arbitrary Contrarian says that I can grow my own catnip. The funny thing is, I already do grow my own catnip, but I've only got a very small area in the backyard where I can do it. So it hasn't sprouted yet. And in the meantime, when it's dry for the cats, I got to get the store stuff. Let's see. Wolfpack Radio with Hurricane Ann. Please share with Methods, PayPal, love me some M3, using some of your research on my show tonight, RP. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. And I suppose by proxy, you're also using some of Methods research. I'll be happy to share that love. EO2 Dave says, Frank missed his birthday show last night. Methods, did you know that? That Frank did not do his birthday show last night? I haven't spoken to him. I hope he's okay. But you guys, I'll reach out to Frank and make sure. Did you hear about that?
I mean, he tweeted about it. Basically, he has a new setup, a new rig to do shows, and a part of it wasn't working.
Okay.
So it was, to me, it was technical error. Could have been operator error. Love you, Frank, but we don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, he didn't say anything about any. He was just sad about the fact that he couldn't do his birthday show. So happy birthday, man. Happy
birthday, Frank. We love quite frankly here. So let's see. Also, gotta say, Heaven on Earth. Thank you for that. Chris Hawkins says, what about Methods, toys, and treats? Here you go, Methods. There you go. Danny L., thank you as well. Carolyn Gannon, great work you're doing. And then Tracy Brandon has joined as a member of the channel. Thank you very much, you guys. Appreciate all of that. I've had several people asking us to take a look at IET's Twitter today. I don't know what we're supposed to be looking at specifically, but I'll go ahead and get that pulled up in the meantime. And we also wanted to talk about the success of the Comfort and the Mercy, you guys. So obviously, I think that they brought these ships, allegedly, they brought these ships out so that they could fill them up with the overflow patients, patients who did not have CV-19. And it's interesting because the way that they are describing New York City or LA you would think it was a war zone. I mean, it's not just the title of a YouTube video. I mean, this is the characterization by the mainstream media. So there should be quite a lot of people on these ships, don't you think, Methods?
Right. No, I agree. But I mean, it's better to be over-prepared than under,
Oh,
but they also did say that, numbers are about to increase dramatically.
Yeah. So this is something to watch. But, I mean, the thing about it is that there's only 18 patients between the two ships. So from everything that I've seen, it looks like the hospitals are virtually empty. I know that there was a video that came out over the weekend, which was supposedly of a hospital in New York, and the hospital appeared to be overflowing with patients. So if those are all the CV-19 patients, and then all of the patients who would normally be in a New York hospital would otherwise be in these ships, I guess I'm just wondering where all those patients are, where those people are at.
Well, I mean, this goes to a bigger conversation that I don't know if we necessarily even have time for, because we don't know, like, okay, a video gets shared of an overflowing hospital. We don't know how old the video is. We don't know all the details behind it. We don't know what happened locally. That could have very well caused a situation where they need to take a bunch of people there. We don't know if they're all there for that. I get images sent to me and they're like, oh, this is being said to be, from a hospital. It looks like a child, and so it has to do with saving the children. I'd love to believe that. And me and Red Pill talk about how to cover these things, because there's so much information being spread that we can't verify, and we're supposed to follow the rules, right? Mm-hmm. We need to be able to verify stuff and all that. And I mean, we're also catching on, Akun and stuff where people are legitimately sharing screenshots from TV shows and movies that happen to have children in these predicaments. And they're trying to put it, we don't know. It looks to me, I'm not trying to say it's not happening. I'm not trying to say that we're not out there running operations to save children. I hope we are, and I hope they are saved. But we don't know, and I'm watching a lot of, I'll just say, shillery that's really just throwing the fuel on the fire. And I'm reading obvious screen caps of, oh, this message was sent to me. And you read it, and it has so many, like, Q-isms telling stories about these things happening to children. And it's like, okay, so they're saying that 4 to 6% of the children are not going to make it. Really? That's the percentage that they happen to have told you in this story that happened. So I'm just telling everybody to be careful, because even if it is true and all that, there is a concerted effort to make sure that it's ramped up to the 10th degree. And then obviously it's going to end up in stories kind of like the whole running the train towards the ship that conveniently was a Q supporter, because that's what they're using the images for.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful. And that's why we don't cover it a whole lot.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, it would be wonderful if this stuff is happening, but without verifiable information, it's irresponsible in my eyes to report on it as if it's fact. And it's complicated by the fact that people are trying to catch us up. They are trying to put out misinformation. So then places like, I don't know, name your mainstream media website publication, so that they can go look at our accounts and they can say, look at this account. They are putting out obviously false information. I can verify that this image was from the TV show The 100 or whatever it might be. And they're actively trying to do that. I mean, I've seen it this week. I've seen it last week. I see it on a regular basis. There are accounts that are devoted solely to trying to debunk people in this movement and try to make people look foolish. So I'll be darned if I'm going to allow that to happen. I want to be very, very careful about everything that we say, and I don't want to steer anybody wrong. I don't want to push you guys down a rabbit hole that's going to lead to, getting you tripped up. Need to say thank you to Carolyn Gannon. Thank you for that, Carolyn. Need to say thank you to Danny L. Thank you for that. And Chris Hawkins says, what about Methods, Toys and Treats? Here you go, Methods. Thank you. Tracy Brandon, thank you for joining as a member. Anon 17++ says, keep it up. American Wife is now a member of the channel. Thanks, American Wife. John Howe says, IET17 looks at a different way to view some of the posts. Very insightful. Okay, we'll check it. Kayleen K has joined as a member. Kristen P says, just paying for my RP and M3 addiction. Love you guys. Thanks for that. Mr. Real Noodle says, please use this to get some snacks and treats for Methods. I tease. Keep up the amazing work, both of you. We've got methods well fed, guys. Don't worry. Low Tech RC, thanks for joining as a member. Carl Biff Bonfilio, thank you for joining. Or excuse me, thanks for that. Stephanie Ustveen says, Critter Pick sent, enjoy. And Fatboy Studio says, as a former police officer, I want to thank those from the NYPD that are here. Hang in there, watch each other six, and go home safely. Absolutely, 100%. Let me see. The next story that we wanted to talk about was from John Solomon, and looks like, I'm sure you guys remember when there was that infamous Trump Tower meeting with Don Jr. and Natalia Veselnitskaya. There was also another translator there, a Russian translator, and apparently he told the FBI, gave them exculpatory evidence, proving that there was no, ill intent with that meeting. Don Jr. did nothing wrong. And I'm sure that you remember that, he was pulled in, he was deposed. There was a lot of speculation in the mainstream media about whether or not Don Jr. was going to go down, if he was going to go to prison. Well, this interpreter gave the FBI and the Department of Justice exculpatory evidence proving that Don Jr. did nothing wrong, and they tried to bury it.
Well, yeah, and you have to remember this was during Comey. This was during, Mueller stuff and all that time. It didn't help the narrative because they were because it was obvious that the Mueller investigation, if they couldn't find anything to bury Trump with, was to set up the impeachment. Mm-hmm. And when that didn't even work, and we got to see how Mueller's got a Biden problem when it comes to, senility and trying to get through things, they had to have the Ukraine thing happen. So of course they were bearing evidence left and right. And I mean, whether, our favorite or not is right, and we've got it all, or there's certain things that are going to come out to light to just poke holes and all that stuff. It's interesting to see that this stuff is coming out now.
Yeah. I want to know who buried this for so long. Who is responsible for making sure that information hasn't come out until this point? The gentleman's name is Anatoly Samachornov. And John Solomon says the topic of discussion was the Magnitsky Act in that meeting and related topics. And Samachrov told the agents, adding that Veselnitskaya didn't even do most of the talking. An American lobbyist provided the presentation. Now, who did that lobbyist work for? This is just another example of the remnants of the swamp, the people that are still there in Washington, D.C., that are trying to destroy President Trump by getting through his kids. Absolutely the most disgusting display. Methods, I know that you're not a father, but as a father, if somebody tried to destroy me by going through my daughter, I would do anything in my power to make sure that she was safe and that nothing was going to happen to her. And I really credit President Trump with his patience and with the way that he's kept himself composed all this time. It's a noble thing.
Right. Why can't we, but then we can't investigate Hunter?
Yeah.
For the obvious things that are worthy of an investigation?
For things that were already being investigated by law enforcement in multiple countries.
Exactly. But they obviously wanted to target, because then it could look like, retaliatory if Trump goes after, his opponent's son. So you could see the narrative if you just look back and then come forward with everything and see how they did certain things for specific reasons to have a narrative. It's all about the narrative. If just like how they tried to get, play down Trump's overreaction in January over this virus. And then now it's, why wasn't he acting? We were talking about it, and we all have the screen caps and the video clips, but it doesn't matter because they're just going to keep pushing forward. That's why I said earlier, something's got to give here. And I'm not saying revolting or taking the streets. I'm saying something has to break in this storyline that we're living in of something happens, the narrative changes, it's setting up for another investigation or another hit piece segment, and then all the trolls go to Twitter and talk about it. Something's got to give in this, and you can kind of feel it coming.
Definitely. I mean, it has to. I think that there have been so many things that have, almost been revealed. And it's just been over and over and over that they show how crooked and, resourceful these people are in continuing their reign of evil. And it hasn't happened yet. And the American public, I've said this before, the American public has slowly been waking up to all of these things. Just imagine you guys, everybody watching this, the one thing that happened to just flip that switch in your brain, swallow that red pill, and realize how far this stuff goes, how much you've been lied to, how deep the evil and the swamp is, and just realize that people are having that experience on a daily basis. There's another thing that has just come out. This is kind of a follow-up to something that we covered in the last week or two, but there was a former DOJ assistant U.S. attorney who admitted that the FBI had examined the computer, the laptop, belonging to a certain DNC staffer who lost his life on the streets of Washington, D.C. in 2016. So as a result of that examination, there should be a 302 that people can, view and get from a FOIA request, but it has not been revealed yet. And this is just another thing that they're still working to suppress so that people won't find out what's really going on.
Well, I look at those two different things. One, they never made one, or they destroyed it, or whatever the case. And you can argue if it's really out there or not. But if it is, that would be tied directly into Durham's investigation.
Mm-hmm.
This goes because he said he's going back to the beginning. Well, this is a part of the beginning.
Yep.
So the fact that it hasn't been provided to date is because we're under the guise of ongoing investigation.
That's kind of what I think too. I do think if that was to come out, then there would be the revelation of this ongoing investigation, and it would reveal everything that they've been working on prior to being able to publicly, bring this out in the form of an indictment and an arrest.
Well, it would also need to be timed out right with the Assange stuff going on.
Yes.
So you can kind of see, once again, you can start seeing these worlds start to collide a little bit on timeline wise, that this is now being talked about a lot more. This isn't the first article about it this week.
No.
And then now we've got Assange. Apparently next month is the final part of the extradition hearing.
Yeah, that was my next question for you.
Oh, well, that's my answer.
Beautiful. Georgia Patriot says, do you guys think many of the evil will be outed, or do you think they will just fade away? Do we really want to know? Well, I think that some of it is going to be revealed, but I also think that a lot of it probably won't be revealed. And, it's questionable as to how it will be. Are they just going to fade away, and that's the cover for, them being taken away and removed from the situation? Or is there going to be some type of public trial or tribunal that takes place? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I certainly hope that there is something public that happens. But if these people just fade away and the evil, leaves existence, I'm just as happy about that too. Methods, what do you think about that?
Oh, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's one of those things that you can't, does it all need to be said publicly from the mountaintop? Some of us agree on it. Just talk about the evil completely, ruin people's mindset so they wake up. But then again, you're also ruining people that might not want to hear it, don't need to hear it. So there just would be okay with just evil being dealt with privately, a la No Name.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Need to say thank you to Navy Vet. I just tweeted my question and concerns about inaccurate death recordings to Real Donald Trump and Dan Scavino. Please retweet so we can bring light to this issue. I'll take a look through my notifications. Trump Be Cool says, seeing convoys here in Arizona heading up north with supplies. In my opinion, also many paid patrols of Apaches around here near Mesa. They assemble the Apaches here, but then they test up north. Pics incoming soon. Sweet, I'll be looking for it. Thank you to Ren32, Oh My Boobs, and Willard Cannon for all joining as members. Linus says, I sent a pic via Twitter I took yesterday of an empty ER. Highly unusual for that place. Talked to two doctors who stated no, not many cases at all. VK Curtis says, Dr. Thomas Cowan, MD, discussing CV-19. Babylove78, just want to send you and Method some love. Thank you for that. Love My Wife says, talk about the Nasara Act. Carl Biff Bonifilio has joined as a member, as well as Linda Lee Chavez. Rockin' Robbie, last drop from our favorite Anon was 328, tied to 10 Days of Darkness. It won't be the first time that he's gone dark for a while, or they've gone dark for a while, so it could be. And JG, thank you, all of you, for your support. Do appreciate it. Well, we have reached the top of the hour, guys. That is the end of our regularly scheduled program. 6,000 people watching, 2.7 thousand likes. Thank you to everybody who was able to like and share and help us get the word out.
And before everybody goes, we said we announced today who's going to be on Comfy Sunday this week.
That's right.
If you want to go ahead, since you're the one that took care of it.
Yeah, we're going to be having our boy Sam Tripoli on from the Tinfoil Hat podcast, and we are both extremely excited about it. So tune in Sunday at 7 p.m. for a very, very comfy conversation with Sam. I think it's just the kind of mental sorbet that we need in a time like this. Really looking forward to having Sam here, and we appreciate him coming on the show with us. Don't forget also tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, Corey's Diggs is going to be here. And then tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, Tim Canova, the candidate who is taking on Debbie Washing Machine Schultz down in Florida. So thank you to everyone. Thank you, as always, Methods, for being here with me. And we will see you guys soon.
Much love, everybody.